Hola chica cheeks, how are you? Welcome to my channel, and I'm Jennifer Vasquez here bringing to you every single week something to talk about, right? This whole entire month I'm dedicating it to your hair texture. So all these videos that I'm sharing, all these great tips with you guys, are divided by different videos. You know, we got fine hair, we have curly hair, and of course thick hair too. So if you have a medium hair and you're like, what about me? Well, you can be applying any of these videos on your hair type. So obviously it depends what kind of pattern you have and what kind of medium texture you have, because some of you guys might have medium curly hair. In that case, you want to pay attention to this video, right? If you have fine hair, obviously this is not for you, right? So you just go back and look into the fine hair the fine hair video that I had posted a few weeks ago. So I'm basing all the information that I'm sharing with you guys on the questions that I get below the comments. So if you have any more questions for me or any suggestions for future videos, definitely let me know. I try also, for those that are asking questions, I'll try to get to you as soon as I can, right? And if you want to know more detailed information about what I'm going to be talking about today, or want to know about some great products that I had experience with, all that information I added on the information box just below, and so that way, if whenever you're ready to purchase some products, at least you have an idea where to start. Because like I said, this video specifically, this whole week, right, we're going to be talking about curl texture, and there's so much to talk about, you guys, because as you know, there's so many different type of curl. Even the same head has different textures, right? So I had to separate this video into two parts, right, because there's so much to talk about it. But we're about to start the 10 tips and recommendations for your curl texture. Yeah, you guys, so we're gonna be talking about curls all day long for this whole entire 2 weeks, okay? So point number one, okay, tip number one, and more than anything, it's just that, I want you to start thinking about this, okay? What kind of texture do you even have? Because like I said, in a spectrum of curly textures, there is some that are more wavy, some are like a little bit tighter, it goes all the way up to what sometimes we call kinky. I don't like to use the word kinky, but just so you can identify how tight and how many different textures we have in the world, right? Sometimes even on your same head, you might have 2 to 3 different textures, right? So sometimes, let's say the bottom baby hair areas, they tend to be a lot tighter than sometimes the top section. So a lot has to do either because, well, number one, you were naturally born that way. Number two, it could be because you always pull your hair behind the ear, or you're always doing a ponytail and stretching essentially the front area more than the nape area or the back area. Sometimes even the texture, so like some curls can feel nice and soft, right, and have a lot of the luster, and some can feel a little more dry, and again, like kinky texture, right? So like wiry, I want to say, in the same head. So if you're one of those gals, right, that have different type of textures and different, even like touch your hair strand and see how that feels, that means that you have to do different things in different parts of your head, okay, depending on what curl you're talking about, right? So you have to apply different products, different techniques, even things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. You want to apply different steps depending on what part of your head you're talking about. So maybe, let's say, for example, you have 3 different kind of textures and the strands on your hair, right? So let's say maybe the back might need a little more hydration because it just feels less luster. It feels more dehydrated, right? So you might want to do more hydrating mask in the lower nape area. Sometimes in this whole section tends to be even thicker than the front, right? And let's say the front, you might want to use a tip that I'll share with you guys later about reconstructing the curl, because let's say you've been flat ironing those pieces, or you've been stretching and pulling it up and away from your face, so those need to be retrained to do that S pattern. Even the weather can make your hair look and feel different. Okay, so therefore, depending what state you live, what season are we in, products have to change, and the techniques that you use on your hair might not work the same as if you would done it like say summertime versus winter time. Tip number 2, you guys. So we were talking about the weather, which is a good point, and I think if you have that true curl texture, whether it's a big factor in your everyday hair routine, and I get it, weather has so much to do with it. So with that said, depending sometimes on the weather, right, that's how you're going to select the products that you're going to be using that day. Okay, so obviously the drier the weather is, you know, if you're in California and you're in the summertime, here tends to be really dry type of summers, so then you want to use products that are definitely a lot more hydrated, maybe even layer different kind of products that had worked out for you. Some of the things I like to do in order to control the frizz, let's say you have that S pattern, that beautiful curl, but your hair is too frizzy, right, to just let it be and let it be free, right? So you want to use products that maybe are a little more wax based, right, that you can essentially emulsify between your fingers and then like smooth down the curl with the frizziness that it stands from that curl texture, right? So depending on where you're at, again, like I said, you could be maybe in Miami where, and again, summertime, right, but it's a little more humid. Your hair is going to be fabulous. I mean, maybe all you have to do is like a blopping technique, which we're going to be talking about it in a second, or just focus on hydration, maybe a more cream based product instead of being so waxy. Okay, so like I said, depending on where you're going, that's how you're going to be picking your products. Think about this for every time that you're traveling somewhere too. The third tip, you guys, is, okay, and I'm sure you know about this, you probably had seen it somewhere, heard of it, maybe a friend said this, or even your own stylist, right? Do not wash your hair every single day. Okay, like I said, if you have that true curl and you've been trying to reinforce it and take care of it, you probably know this, right? But do you also know why we say that? Why do we say don't wash your hair every day? You know, because some people say, well, that's disgusting or whatever, but for your particular texture and even thickness too, right, we don't want to wash your hair every single day, because all that hydration that you're putting in your hair, hopefully you are, right, with products, plus the oils from your natural scalp and you know, just the stuff that your body produces, is going to help on hydrating the curl. That, you know, and we keep on talking about this, we keep on saying that you have to hydrate your curl. And I'm not kidding, because, okay, so this is the deal. Hold on, I'm gonna sit well here. This is a really good conversation. and the reason why, you guys, is because, you know, in order to curl very pretty, right, to have that S, consecutive S pattern, it takes so much effort for the hair, so much hydration. It needs that in order to have the smooth effect, okay, and to make it essentially bouncy, right? So it's not so much like, you know, when you have someone with straight hair, you know, they don't need, the hair doesn't need to curl, where it's not going to create that S pattern. It's just really straight bone, right? So just even a little bit of that natural oil that your body produce on someone that has straight hair, it's enough for them. But for us, so that, you know, for those that have really pretty curly hair, they do need even more of that natural oil. So therefore, that's why we don't recommend washing your hair every day, and instead washing it once a week. Okay, which essentially, honestly, you know, and the more we get into these tips, right, you're gonna, at the end of the video, of the second part of this video, you're gonna be like, wait a second, this is a lot for me to do for my hair, I don't have time or whatever. But honestly, if you're just washing your hair once a week, right, essentially you're just picking one day of the week where you're going to be doing either blopping techniques, you know, different styling techniques, applying those products, maybe once in a while, maybe right before you're going to go out and about, right, or you're going to a concert or having dinner or going to work, you might want to spray something that is going to refresh your curls. Okay, but you're not washing it, you're not going through the process of shampooing and conditioning and all of that. Okay, So really important to not wash your hair every day. Your hair needs it. You want those products, the natural oils and the products that you're using to sit on your hair, to hydrate it, almost like if you're doing a hair mask for a week. Tip number 4, you guys. Okay, so sometimes we're here talking about not to shampoo your hair every week, right? But sometimes when we're doing that, right, what happens is that if you're not combing your hair throughout, which I mean, honestly, sometimes we also don't recommend that, combing the hair, because then ends up being too frizzy when we're talking about curly hair texture specifically. So what happens sometimes is that because the hair is trying to absorb all that oil or the products that you're putting on the surface of the hair strand, sometimes those products end up sitting in our scalp, right? And that happens to a lot of us, specifically curly hair and then really thick texture hair, not only thick texture strand, but people that have a lot of hair, like all that, even sometimes your own sweat, natural oils, products, they sit on your scalp. So if this is you, right, and you start seeing a little bit of flaking here and there, don't worry about it. Most likely it's not dandruff, okay? If you do happen to have dandruff, dandruff is a fungus, okay? It is categorized as a fungus, and a lot of times it smells bad, okay? You'll see some yellow flaking happening and more of a like scab type of flaking, not little white specks, okay? So there is a difference between dandruff and just like product buildup on your roots. Product buildup on your roots is completely, is something that you can completely fix at home by just giving it a really nice scrub to your head. I mean, like, get your hands in there, your nails. Obviously, don't go with the intention to scratch your scalp. You don't want to do any abrasions on your scalp necessarily, because that can then be linked to hair loss, okay? So you don't want to do that, but definitely give it a nice shampoo. Have a nice pressure on that shower head, okay? If you have a lot of hair and you have a really tight curl, even like separate that curl, right? Separate that hair and maybe shampoo per sections. Maybe you shampoo in the back and then you work your way up, right? But you want to make sure that the water and the shampoo, when it's the time, is really getting inside of your scalp, so you end up with a really nice healthy scalp. When you don't have, let's say the opposite, when you don't have a good scalp, healthy scalp, not only you're asking for dandruff, that could happen, right? But also you start seeing a lot of hair loss, because healthy hair is coming from healthy scalp, okay? And I speak for all hair textures. If your scalp is not healthy, you guys, most likely you'll start seeing some hair loss, and in some cases hair doesn't even grow back. So like I said, the fact that you're not washing your hair every single week, every single day, it doesn't mean that your hair should smell, that your hair should look or feel gross, okay? You want to make sure, and I repeat it again, that when you're shampooing it, that you give it a nice shampoo. You're doing maybe a treatment in between if you see any like white specks, because let's say the weather changes, which that can definitely create some dryness on your scalp. Maybe do a scalp treatment. There's a lot of products on the market. Precisely, DAVINES has one that I love to use, and that's to in a way dehydrate any oily scalp. Maybe let's say that your scalp is overproducing oil, so there's products out there that can balance your pH, so then you're not producing too much oil. Now, sometimes some of these white specks can be more of not so much oily but dry. So in that case, what I prefer to use, and I'm being honest, you guys, is just pure coconut oil, okay? Because coconut oil, it's going to not only hydrate the scalp, so then that way you don't have white specks, but it also works as an anti-inflammatory. It works as a antibacterial too. So let's say that you're on the border of having dandruff, it could take care of that, right? But you want to do it, with natural stuff like that, kitchen products, I would call it. You want to do it constantly so it works, okay? Because obviously they're not designed to be placed on our hair, right? It's not like a hair mask mask that you're getting from your hairstylist or from any beauty store, right? Obviously those, the more professional ones, they're made to see results a lot faster, and also they don't have to sit in your head on your scalp for too long, right? So let's say coconut oil is great, and then you have this other, you know, product A, it's also awesome. They work very well, same benefits, but most likely coconut oil is gonna have to sit on your scalp, let's say for at least an hour, okay? And you have to do it every single week or maybe every time you shampoo, versus product A, it can work in 15 minutes and you can do it twice a month, right? So it very different the way how you would use it, but a lot of times, like I said, they will both work. Well, they would both take care of your scalp. It just really depends what you can afford and which route you want to take. Okay, you guys, so I'm here talking about don't wash your hair, you know, that often, right? Which you already know not to do that. But I'm gonna bring to you tip number 5. Okay, so the number 5 is this. Have you heard of fake wash? Have you? I don't know. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But I'm here to explain it to you. Now, if you're, let's say, one of those gals that work in the hospital, in construction, or you're just in a field that you feel like you have to wash your hair more often than once a week, okay? Not necessarily every day, right? Let's not do that. Let's take that out of your head. You don't have to wash your hair every day. But let's say you want to wash it or at least wet it twice a week, right? Maybe 3 times, all right? Let's say 3 times. So what do, right? So we started thinking about, okay, what other options there is out there for curly hair, and this is what we came out with, the fake wash. Okay, so if you Google it, I'm sure there's millions of videos out there on how to do the fake wash. And basically what it is, okay, and I recommend this for any texture that feels like they have to wash their hair every single day because, you know, work or whatever, right? So what you do, you get in the shower, right, and you get your hair wet, all right? You try to massage it. You know, we talked about, like, get your hands on your scalp, massage that. You're breaking any product sitting on your scalp, any natural oil that is sitting there that is not being distributed through the whole entire hair strand, because you're not combing your hair every day, which is totally fine, right? So you're pretending to shampoo your hair with no shampoo, okay? And then if you still want to do a hair mask to hydrate your hair or to rebond the curl, you still do that, and then obviously rinse it out, and then you follow through with the conditioner, which is really always really important. You don't skip the conditioner either, okay? And then that's it. So you hear me here? Like, do you know that you're still skipping that shampoo step, right? So essentially, let's say you do this twice a week, and then on a 3rd day, you are using the shampoo, and you're shampooing thoroughly and doing the whole shebang, right? But you use 2 days to just do the fake wash, and you're still hydrating, you're still using that hair mask. So that way, when your hair air dries, then you still have that nice bounce effect and without being too dehydrated over time, okay? And also, this is going to make you feel like, okay, I took a full shower, I'm nice and clean, I don't feel like my head is too dirty, or I have I don't know, dust on your head, or whatever the case is, right? But like I said, you're still skipping the shampoo. So there's ways around to this whole routine. Alright, guys, so you know what to do. You want to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you don't want to miss a part 2 of this really long video, because there's so much to talk about, and I don't want you to miss it out, because we're going to be talking about great tips and great information that you should know if you have curly texture. So like I said, just go ahead and press that subscribe button, and then just also press on the little bell so you get a notification when I post that 2nd video, which is the following week, okay? And like I said, if you like more like these videos, I hope that at this point you've already been following me, because I love to talk about a little bit of everything. Sometimes we talk about skin, sometimes we talk about hair, or just simply things that I feel like as a hairdresser you should have. So I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, I'll see you next week, and for all the social media platform information and this video's content, you're gonna find it down here. I'll see you next week. Bye.